welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a business growth coach, storyteller, and a champion enthusiast, helping others align daily routines with purpose driven rewards, sales, profit, and freedom. No other than Mr. David Aferia.
Hello, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Welcome on Book 101 Review, Mr. David. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, so I am principally a growth coach. What does that mean? I work with CEOs and their leadership teams that are struggling with opportunities and obstacles on the way to growing. All of this reflects the experiences that I've had growing a software company and an import company that imports organic and sustainable certified organic and sustainable champagne from France to the U.S. And those experiences in business and the privilege I've had of leading other business owners and leaders at both a French American Chamber of Commerce for the Southeast US and an organization I hold dear to my heart, the Entrepreneurs Organization, EO, um, is what I bring with me to my client work and helping them resolve a lot of issues that are stopping the company from high performance.
Mr. David Aferia, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about the reward should merit the routine, coaching for resilient growth inside the Avid Group's approach to scaling teams with the structure and soul, using the Bloom growth to create clarity, traction, and dream trust. Tell us what it's all about, Mr. David.
I'd be happy to, Daniel. And thank you for the warm welcome. So my coaching practice uses a proven methodology, and then I bring my experience and my own coaching style as meat on the bone, so to speak. But the bones are uh, a business operating system called Bloom Growth. There are other competitors, there are other business operating systems that are all great, like EOS or Scaling Up. These are operating systems that just help focus a CEO and owner and leadership team uh, into simplifying what needs to be done, prioritizing it, executing on it, and communicating it within an organization. And I've chosen the Bloom Growth methodology to pair with my experience because Bloom Growth is more than just a methodology. It's a community of coaches from which I learn from, and we meet on a quarterly basis where steel sharpens steel, and we get really, really good at learning from each other's case studies and even role playing in some of the exercises that we do as it relates to something very unique to Bloom Growth, which is how you get a leadership team to develop deeper levels of trust in order to get to higher performance. Lots of leadership teams and lots of companies start to falter in their performance because the leaders aren't growing or getting to a place of psychological safety, often because, for one reason or another, there are stories that each team member is telling themselves that are blocking effective ways of working together. And there's a whole host of reasons why. But we work on bringing exercises and methodologies to these teams to get them into a more higher performing mode, which helps them in their lives, in and outside the company. I believe in this adage that if you grow the people, you grow your company. And when you get to the point of after a founder builds the initial company and starts proving product market fit, a lot of other issues come into the come into existence about how do I hire the right people and put them in the right seats. And goodness, as the company continues to grow, how do I resolve the fact that the company and the structure may be growing faster than the current team that I have? So these are lots of issues that can pull a company off of the path to growth and put them into the wilderness for a period of time. So when you mentioned a lot about routine and rewards and resilience, what I have learned from my 20 years building software companies and this champagne import company is that the commitment you have to a daily routine had better serve you, because that routine is what's going to take you to a future place, and we all want to be in a better future place. So the more attention we give our routines, the better, and the better we curate high performing routines and habits, the better we're going to arrive at a future self that's better than where we are right now.
Mr. David, this philosophy seems to combat burnout by linking daily effort to meaningful outcomes. How do you help a team member who can't see that link, who feels stuck in the routine without feeling the reward?
Well, um, let me give you an example. So a lot of the bane of a lot of existence in companies is meetings, right? And we all have been in meetings that have drained time from us, and we've walked out saying, "I'm not going to be able to get that time back," or and we are revisiting the same issue over and over again. We keep circling back and coming to and talking about the same things without resolving them. So, in an engagement that I bring from this methodology and from my experiences, we work to make those meetings not suck. And principally, if you can get to a structure that promotes conversation, momentum, resolving issues, looking and agreeing on how the company is performing according to KPIs and such, then we build small wins in these meetings. We resolve what needs to be resolved, or take a chunk out of the steps needed to solve it, one chunk at a time. And then we create more to dos. And having a meeting structure and that's timed according to this agenda, and that begins on time and ends on time, builds a lot of respect for people's efforts, and starts having people feeling like, wow, I got something done. We got something done as a group from this meeting. So much, I would say, two-thirds can be attributed to you fix your meetings and the proper way of identifying issues. You'll get to prioritizing them, executing on them, and then communicating them in a much better way. And meetings, a good structured meeting, is one powerful way to do that.
Definitely. Something else. Mr. David, resilient growth implies weathering storms. Can you share a story where this principle was truly put to the test during a period of significant difficulty or failure to your company?
Yeah, there are times where everything goes right and you're growing so fast the wheels are coming off, and then there are other times where you cannot get out of your own way, um, and are often just stuck for 6 months, 9 months, where revenue is not growing, the company is not growing. Um, when I had my software company, and my partners and I, we had a company that was in both of those camps at different times. When it was going great, we were on the Inc. 5000 list for 6 years in a row. If you're on it for more than 2 years, you're like in a row, you're in the top like 1%. So six in a row is quite an achievement. And but yet there were other, and I'm embarrassed to say, almost 18 months, almost 2 years of like being stuck at the same revenue level. And it can be frustrating to add, and to if I had had a coach like me in that situation, we would have gone a lot farther and a lot faster, because the way we got out of it just took too long to get out of our own way. Um, and when you have certain setbacks when you're making a pitch and you're trying to sell our software, um, and it doesn't, a sale doesn't come through, or you lose a key employee, um, you that's certainly the time to kind of assess what went wrong, and believe you still have to eventually come back down to basics, because you've advanced far enough and you've been thrown a punch, and you have to come back to, like, okay, what's our mission? What is our real, value proposition? Do we still have what it takes to perform and fit with the changing market? And if you do, then you just line up another opportunity, and keep a pipeline, going, to say, we still have the product, we still have the right mission. And again, coming back, competition will often bring a lot of mirrors to say, this is how you're doing it, and show up your faults, and show, rarely kind of like your strengths. They'll really try to show, like, this is what's wrong with your product or solution. That's why you need, this competitors. And how you react to that is everything. You can choose not to react. You can choose to redefine everything, or you can choose to keep growing and keep investing in the company to get better, and eventually drown out whatever noise the other competition has. We used to have a lot of competitors who would make lots of noise, and blur marketing, with lots of promise. But if you stick to this resiliency, if you stick to routines that are working, you're delivering the product, your uptime is 99.9%. You have uh, demonstrated value from testimonials of your customers. You understand their journey, and you've matched the experience to what their needs are. And then you persevere. You outlast them.
Persevere for sure. And Mr. David, many companies have meetings. Bloom provides the structure for them. What was the single most impactful change to your meeting rhythm after implementing Bloom that created real clarity?
Well, a lot of my clients that where I'm when I start with them, are in various states of growth. And some of them are in various, sometimes my first client, for instance, was in quite a tailspin, where the challenges was immediate about um, cash flow. They're a successful business, they sell, but when they sell, they incur a lot of costs. And managing cash flow becomes the key, almost core process within competency within this company. But they were challenged by not having the right people in the right seats when it came to a CFO. And we quickly start to prioritize. There's a lot of fires here. Which one do we want to solve first? And frankly, their meetings were the first to get back on a path of being, instead of being full of dread, being actually an empowering event. And that just allowed the team to see more clearly, yes, there are issues and fires here, but let's pick one, and focus our efforts on resolving this. When I come into my clients, I don't come in with the answers to their problem. That's very key. When I compare what my previous life as a consultant early on, before I started the software company, and before I started my entrepreneurial pursuits, a consultant has and is looked at as like having the answer. You're an expert, you have the answer. uh, Here's a deliverable, here's a budget, and here's a timeline. Please produce. But as a coach, I bring a lot of experience and to share, but I'm not delivering the answer. I'm creating the space where the answer where we can arrive at the answer. And I often tell these leadership teams at various points in their evolution, the answer is in this room. And if we're not getting to it, it's because we have to resolve some other issues about sometimes the story we're telling ourselves. Sometimes it's one strategy that's been communicated but interpreted six different ways, or five different ways, or however many people are on the leadership team. And we need to reconcile why there are differences, and get to really problems that only this team taking off their functional role can solve together and trust each other to come together and solve. So operations, I need you in this marketing conversation, in this decision that we made. And sales, I need you in this HR conversation. And when a team starts to function with at the leadership team, to take off their functional hat, have an outward mindset, and serve the other functions, the others in that room to come up with an answer, well, then you start getting performance out of a team, thinking about beyond their own roles and how they can help each other.
Mr. David, as a business growth coach, storyteller, and champion enthusiast, what are your short term and long term goals?
Sure. So I have a mission to uh, bring the best owner grower champagne into this country, that's certified or sustainable and organic, so that people don't get headaches from drinking a beverage that we all love and celebrate with. And I'm also on a mission to help 1,000 companies and their leadership teams bloom, as it were, and flourish. And to do that, I work with, as I said, a group of coaches, and we together sharpen our approach to helping companies do just that, to flourish where they are not, and helping us as we reach milestones for the companies that we are helping. Why not celebrate with organic certified Premier Cru champagne from France, right? So,
Yes, why
um,
not?
and that's what I mean by every company needs to understand at different times, like what's you know what deserves celebration and what deserves acceleration. Like what are the levers in this company that if we accelerated and we grew, this company would start to really achieve all of its goals and do so in a way that didn't extract a pound of flesh from all of us, but through good process and people development, really start to create an environment that where everyone is flourishing. That's what really separates leaders who are plateauing and others that are breaking through.
Flourishing indeed, and good luck to your goals, Mr. David, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you? They want to be like you, Mr. David.
Sure. Well, I can just simply share a couple of my core values that keep me oriented toward growing and flourishing, and one of them is being a lifelong learner. So, which is why I love this chapter in my life where I've done the work of growing businesses, and now I get to learn I can, from other coaches and their amazing experiences, and then share that with clients. Um, I also mentioned the other value that I have, the outward mindset, which is this, how I show up very present in the moment, not anxious of the future, not regretful of the past, but here in this moment. And with an outward mindset, I'm thinking about how can I serve and be of value.
Definitely. How I can serve and to have a value. Interesting indeed, Mr. David. And thank you for that advice. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
I have a friend who lives in Toronto uh, and is uh, and who I've known for quite some time, and has helped me at different moments in my life where there was conflict and adversity, both in my partnership in the software company and even out of it, um, in helping me find this new path that I'm on as a Bloom Growth coach. And she early on, she had many of these concepts that she had as part of a workshop. Then she wrote a book. And so the book that I would recommend is her recent accomplishment, and it's called The Undermined. And it is a book principally about how we can stop the stories we tell ourselves in our head that unconsciously we have rolling around. There are the voices in our head sometimes that slow us down or that insert doubt where there shouldn't be. And they are the result sometimes of past traumas that we've had, which were created to protect us, but that no longer serve us as we've moved on from those incidences, and now just we wind up carrying where they're not needed. And so the book does a very effective way of um, clearing head trash, essentially. And it's a good read.
Good read for sure, and thank you for that recommended book, Mr. David. And scaling requires hiring. How does the system of clarity and accountability actually influence your hiring process? Do you look out for a different types of people now?
That's a good question, Daniel. Um, at my software company, and even in the champagne import company, when we do make a hire, um, it's important that we see certain behaviors and that these behaviors are innate, and the instincts of the candidates we want to bring onto the team for certain roles. And the way to essentially filter candidates and find the right people, mission driven and capable of flourishing within your processes of running the business, um, are to really do a hard look at your core values. And I'm not talking about the ones out there for your website for a marketing, kind of communication basis, but the kinds of behaviors that you would look for as you hire or promote, or if violated, you would fire somebody, for. And um, there's only about three or four of them. So, for example, in in the champagne company, one of our values is doing the right thing, and that value is rooted whether you're dealing with a customer or you're dealing with someone else, in a partner within the supply chain. And uh, you know, there's another one, authenticity, for sure, being true to yourself, and that matters a lot in terms of how we choose the producers that we put onto the platform. The Avid Vines platform of um, we only take certain kinds of producers, and the ones that are big business who purchase grapes and are a corporation, we tend to not select, because out of a preference for authenticity, for those who are owners, farmers really, who hold back their grapes and say, I'm not selling these grapes, I'm going to put my own label on them, and I'm going to tell my story. And that is what we seek, and that helps us filter for who we bring onto the platform. That's just two examples.
Mr. David, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101 and mental health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 and then first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. David, finally, scaling is a continuous journey. What's the next frontier of your company, and how are you evolving this concept of resilient growth for the next stage.
Well, Daniel, I almost feel like turning that question on you and asking from all of your 101, podcasts, what's your plan for getting to like 201, to getting to the master classes in any of these?
Yes, to empower people all over the world through all these podcasts. For me, one person that will empower to one of my episodes to all these podcasts, I'm so happy.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a beautiful sentiment. Do you have a goal or a mission with respect to your podcasts as to what you what you seek to as a result? If someone has an experience with your podcast, what are you hoping
Well,
happens?
hoping that one day that, well, to be number one on the Apple chart for sure, in any platform, to be number one. And each of all my podcasts have different genre, so each of those I want to elevate more every season that makes, say, elevate to my listeners. It elevate in the sense that the vision and mission of the podcast goes on in hand.
Sounds like you want to help people flourish.
Yes, for sure. So, Mr. David, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, tell us, you have an upcoming book and what is all about.
Well, thanks. Yes, I hope to come back when I have the book complete. But the book is about the mitigating the risks for CEOs and leaders that are in the sandwich generation between their offspring and their aging parents. The book is about how to mitigate the risk of these aging parents from crashing into one's life at that's never a good time. So how to essentially prepare for that through a value-based conversation that helps the aging parents um,
Hmm.
project into the future the kind of quality of life that they want to live.
Okay, Mr. David, thank you so much for being part on Book 101 Review. And can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Sure. If you're a business owner or a member of a leadership team that's struggling and would like a direction, please visit us at avid.coach. Simple as that, avid.coach. And for those interested in the certified organic Premier Cru champagne that's imported from France to the US only, then I encourage you to visit avidvines.com. Avid is a big word.
Definitely, yes, people, let's support Mr. David Aferia because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering champagne to come, more and more empowering business or advocacy to come. So, Mr. David, thank you so much for your time.
This has been a unique pleasure, Daniel. Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.